My name is Megan Laws, and I'm a fellow in the Department of Anthropology at the LSE. As a fellow, I work both in research and in teaching, and as a teacher, I teach a core course for first-year undergraduates in anthropology called AN102, Anthropology, Text and Film. This aims to get students to think critically about ethnographic writing and ethnographic filmmaking, and also to apply their understanding to the production of their own media projects. I became aware of kind of the very different challenges that students face, from kind of technical challenges with equipment, obviously, to kind of more personal or social challenges that they might have surrounding their kind of place of learning. And some of those things I think were hidden before the pandemic, but they came to the forefront over the last year. In the first year of my fellowship, which was before the pandemic hit, I was awarded an Eden Centre Catalyst Fund to purchase photographic equipment and microphones, with the aim of letting students use these to develop their own projects in the 2020-2021 academic year. And obviously the pandemic made it difficult for students to get out and work on developing their own kind of media projects. But also only a few students were in London. And so it was hard to ensure that it was kind of fair that everyone could get access to the equipment. Some students just couldn't. So we wanted to keep things fair, and we also had to try and think about the safety of kind of trying to go out and do your own media projects. So we decided to delay giving out any of the equipment and focus instead on using smartphones, which most students kind of coming to the LSE nowadays have access to. The course is taught over 2 terms with my colleague Andrea Peer, who teaches in the Michaelmas term, and then in the Lent term I teach the course alongside Darren Moon of the Eden Centre. And so this year what we did was we introduced a series of kind of online practical training sessions. We ran a series of kind of online 2-hour seminars where we went through not only the kind of basics. This was part of something that we were trying to do prior to the pandemic. Trying to give students the opportunity to sort of apply their understanding. But we had to kind of change the way that we were doing that, and that was partly through these online seminars, but also through doing what other colleagues did, which was kind of thinking more about different tools that we can use online. So really revamping the Moodle page and creating, kind of trying to develop it as a space for sort of self-learning. So sort of trying to get students to think beyond the assessment and to see it as a resource for their development as social scientists, so something they might be able to come back to. As I've kind of developed my teaching, I've started to think about how we could do this in anthropology more effectively, how that could be a kind of standard practice in anthropology, that collaborative research is not something really, really difficult to do. In the context of the pandemic, and trying to think about how to kind of work with students remotely is something that Darren and I sort of thought about in more depth. So we haven't involved students yet into kind of research into ethnographic methods, but we are in the process of developing something we're calling the Ethnographers Playbook. This is named after a fantastic book by Jason Fulford called The Photographer's Playbook, which is it features a series of kind of really accessible photographic assignments for kind of young budding photographers, where kind of building on the work that we did this year with students in AN102, people can actually kind of submit research interests or submit research questions that they're interested in, and then other people who are interested in those can kind of form a small community. We have involved a handful of students who've done kind of excellent work putting together a kind of framework for guiding people in how to use different media, or in how to kind of engage with different forms of storytelling and that sort of thing. But it's a real work in progress, and something that really has developed a lot over this year during the pandemic, where we've been kind of forced to think more closely about how to do that kind of work. So reflecting on the last year and thinking about my own experience as a teacher and also the experience of my students, I think one thing has been kind of learning to slow down a bit. I think at the start of the pandemic, the impulse was to kind of maximize the online learning experience, which was really helpful, and it led to a lot of innovation in how to teach online, but also just how to teach generally. But it also, it can quickly become kind of too much, both for the teacher but also for the students. So really just thinking about how to, rather than cramming lots of content in, thinking about how to spend more time kind of talking through the content with students.